Bellinger back onto the track, at the wall. Bellinger brings it back. A robbery from Cody Bellinger, taking a home run away from the guy that he's traded places with. Bears' first drive after the Younghoe Koo missed field goal. Justin Fields to her, has DJ Moore into the breadbasket. This year and years past knows why he's supposed to be doing certain things, like throwing the ball deep to DJ Moore. Third down and goal. Fields flings that corner. Moore. Touchdown.
I'm so glad to see them doing it a lot.
Why? Now Bedard again. And he scores. What a play!
Bennington. No chance at all for the Blues netminders. Connor Bedard.
Bedard now. Main Street. He scores!
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome into Monsters of the Madhouse. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. This is awesome to have you guys with us because we got a lot to talk about. There is so much. I mean, guys, let's just end the show now. There's nothing going on with the Bears today.
It's the off season.
Yeah, we're in the off season now, guys. We don't need to talk about any firings or anything that we think that's going to be the quarterback coming up in the future. So
no draft conjecture.
Yeah, right. None of that stuff. So
Nothing.
First off, thanks to everybody watching right now. We really appreciate it so much. And I want to introduce to you, first off, I'm Matt Cooper, as I am down here in beautiful Knoxville, Tennessee. Grew up on the south side of Chicago. I want to introduce to you guys Casey CB Barker, who was on with us last week. Dude, it's good to see you again, man.
Yeah, nice to be back. It's snowing outside, well, the past couple days anyway, but stuck here in a hotel room until Friday. So
yeah, I was just gonna say, I look at your
down.
setup. You kind of got like the setup that I have right now because I'm in the process of moving. So I've got like 4 wall paintings that are up right now, and then everything else is like in a jumble. But you're like in the hotel, like you got like the blinds, the like the same colors a little bit. Oh,
here's your painting.
Yeah, I get you. We get one. We get one for you. Hey, man, at least you got something to look at today, man. But thank you, man. We're excited to have you back on. And then for the very first time, I am excited to introduce to you guys JB. JB, thanks for coming on to Monsters in the Madhouse, man.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And what jersey? So what? I'm trying to see what jersey you got.
Is that a Julius Peppers jersey?
That is an orange Julius jersey.
Man, we don't see too many of those anymore of Julius Peppers, who was a great, I think a great player at his time when he was on with us.
The only place they would let me play is on the line because you can time my 40 with a sundial. So I'm all about the line.
Wow.
Hey, same here, bud.
That's how we're going to start thinking of Julius Peppers now when we think of you, JB.
Well, it's hard to tell us apart, really. I mean,
Is it JB or OJ?
Yeah, it depends on the day and depends on the day and how mad I am at my ex-wife. Hello.
Hey, I was gonna say if the glove doesn't fit.
Yeah, we don't want to get your blood pressure up tonight, JB.
If the glove doesn't fit, you quit.
So, well, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. So we're going to start off today with the Bears because, I mean, we were going to go in many different directions today because we ended the season last Sunday. And we kind of talked about it last week that we wanted to see our team after the last game of the year go off into the offseason with some momentum, and that didn't happen. And we're going to get into that game a little bit because there are some things that kind of, I think, for us Bears fans that I'm not going to say angered us, but not worry us, but there's some things that the Packers are doing right now that I think they're way above us on. And we're going to break that down a little bit later. We're going to talk about Connor Bedard's injury, which was just ugly, and it sucks. As we got one of the shining stars in Chicago sports right now, and we can't even see him play for the next 5 weeks. But there's a stat about the Blackhawks I'm going to bring across you guys a little bit later today that threw me off guard a little bit earlier today, but in a positive way, because I'm like, whoa, this is still really cool that this is happening when it comes to the Blackhawks. And then we're going to go around the room, talk a little bit about the NFL playoffs this weekend. We got some great games to look forward to. And CB, I can see the glow in your face, a free agent signing for the Cubs. We're gonna get,
yeah.
You didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened yesterday, and we're going to get into that too, because I want to get your thoughts. I want to get your thoughts too, JB, on that signing and what it can go from there. So let's start off with the Bears, guys, because some news came out today, and I kind of figured it would happen today because normally we don't know how the Bears could operate on different schedules sometimes, but a lot of teams will go into Black Monday. I thought Black Monday was kind of quiet this year. So a couple of days after, we got some news about Matt Eberflus and how he's going to stay. The press conference was earlier today, where we had Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus up there. But boy, was there some firings. It started with no surprise. We were talking about Luke Getsy. He was let go today. Quarterback coach Andrew Janoku, wide receivers coach Tyke Tolbert.
The Green Bay Packers spy.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers spy who probably going back to Green. Actually, I have something behind Getsy where I think he might end up, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Running back coach Omar Young and then assistant tight ends coach.
Hopefully in the CFL.
No, I think there's something else though, man. I'm gonna pick your guys' brain. But boy, they really cleaned house today on their offense. So I'm gonna start with you, JB, since you're brand new to the show.
Sure.
I want to get right into it. Do you think, with all these firings on our offensive side today, do you think that would make a difference on our offense going into our season, to 2024 season?
Well, it has to. I mean, the offense, everybody knows the offense was pathetic. I mean, and whether, I'm sure we'll get into it later, you know, whether you're in the Fields camp or not, or whatever, you know, whichever kind of offense you want to run, throwing yet again another wide receiver screen on 3rd and 23 is not how you play football in the National Football League, you know. And so the idea that you could just piecemeal and take a few you know, position coaches out and everything will be fine, we'll just smear frosting on it, that doesn't hold any water. The offense was abysmal. It was it couldn't even come out of the gate. The teams that we beat are just, they're not good teams. I mean, we didn't even, the games we won weren't even, they weren't even worthy of headlines. So, you know, you have to gut that side of it. Honestly, I think the only reason Eberflus is still here is because he reverted back to the position that he was good at to begin with, which was the defensive coordinator. And, you know, it begs the question, should he ever have been anything other than a defensive coordinator? But had that not worked out, honestly, I don't see anything redeeming with him either. So what you're going to have to do, and when you ask about does it make a difference, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to bring in a powerhouse offensive mind at that offensive coordinator job, and they're going to be almost equal on the sidelines with Eberflus, because Eberflus has shown that he knew nothing about offense, and the idea that he didn't override some of this nonsense that Getsy put forth, it was inexcusable. I mean, it eventually works its way up the food chain. It's still his team. At some point, you grab Getsy in the film room and go, dude, what is that? What is that? You know, but he either couldn't, didn't know how to, didn't want to, whatever. So you gotta flush them all out. And when you bring in an OC that is going to establish an entire new paradigm of offense for this team, you have to then give them the flexibility and freedom to hire all those sub coaches and position coaches as well. So when you get rid of Getsy, it has to be part and parcel with the whole offense.
You know, you bring up some good points too, JB, and I want to get your opinion on this, Casey, because I feel like sometimes, and I think Eberflus did a really good job, and it sounds like the players respond to him. He got the team together. They were a little bit better this year. Offense was not. But when you go into a season like next year where you wipe out an entire staff, the Jacksonville Jaguars just did this with their defense too. I remember they did that yesterday, right. And I'm like, boy, is that the right call? Or at some point, are you like clinging on to your life here because you have another year left to prove yourself? Hey, maybe we just had the wrong coaches in place. So right. Casey, I'm going to ask you now with the offensive, and I think it had to when JB brought up some points of some of the play calling we talked a little bit about last week, and you kind of saw what it looked like on Sunday when we play a good team with good coaching and what that looked like. Do you think that we're going to attract offensive coordinators that want to come here? knowing that they have the potential of being on a team that's on the come, or the other way, saying, hey, wait a minute here, Matt Eberflus could be in his last year as the head coach. Do I want to come here or go to another place where we could start over with a new coach?
Well, I think the biggest thing is if we keep Justin Fields, that's a big circle. And if you want to be an offensive coordinator, that might be the biggest reason why you come to Chicago. Like, Justin's ceiling could be way up here. He's right here right now. And he could reach that having a competent OC. Screen passes are okay every once in a while, but not 3, 4, 5, 6 times in a row. But it is a place that probably will be highly targeted for people to come, or OCs to come. And even if Eberflus only stays one more year, it could be good news for another OC to come in and help Justin out and get this offense on track. Because we have Justin as a QB. We have a decent running game, and I think Roshan could be the guy that's a little better than Herbert. He just doesn't get the chances. And you put that offensive line in front of Justin in that rushing attack, man, they got to put the pieces in place first. And yeah, we laid a dud in Green Bay. And like I said in the start of the season, when we went 0-4, we had a sinking ship. We patched it up, got to the later part of the season. Hey, we started putting wins together. The offensive coordinator still wasn't on the same page as Justin was. He had a couple good games, but you know what? The patches came off and we sunk again against Green Bay. That's a telling sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. And I think that's what was very aggravating about this game over the weekend, guys. And I want to get your thoughts. We could talk a little bit about this game because it is our rivals. We have not beaten them in a very long time. And I was very confident. I was so confident about this. The way they were playing, and granted, it was against Atlanta, who just fired their coach, and they didn't even wait till Black Monday. They fired him like hours after the game. Arizona, who's not a very good team, who might be a good team in the future. You just don't know. And then here's the Packers. I'm like, all right, guys, here's our momentum. And that's what we put out that day. And we don't score a touchdown. And the first
Thank you, Cairo.
Cairo Santos, thank you. So the first thing I think about when I look back at this game is the performance of the Packers, because I really think now they're ahead of us. They're ahead of us. And guys,
it shows every game we play against them.
But I looked up something this morning, and I'm going to blow your head. I looked back at their 2023 NFL draft. And I'm like, you know what? They've got all these young players. They're the youngest team in the league. Listen to the first couple of picks in the draft, and they all made differences in that game. The first pick was Lucas Van Ness, a linebacker, who had a sack that game. They had 2 second-round picks.
Iowa product?
Yes. A second-round, 2 second-round picks. Their tight end, Luke Musgrave, who's a starting tight end, looks like he's going to be a star. Jaden Reed, who I was worried about for the start of the game, he had some big catches in that game. He looks like he's going to be a star. Then Dontavian Wicks, a 5th-round pick, another wide receiver who had a touchdown in that game. So I'm like, the Green Bay Packers are drafting very well, and their players are being put in the position to go out and perform. And I think we are getting to that point with us too. But then I look at some of our picks like Velus Jones and Tyler Scott, our other wide receiver, who's had some moments, who's also had some not so good moments. So I'm going to go to you, JB. When you look at that game against the Packers over the weekend, what was your overall takeaway? I said the takeaway was the Packers are a little bit ahead of us, but if you have another takeaway you look at that you're like, oh crap.
Yeah, I mean they're rebuilding. I mean, there's no way you lose a Hall of Fame quarterback and say you're not rebuilding. They just rebuild fast, and this goes back, eventually what I know we're going to circle the conversation around to, to Justin or not to Justin. That is the question, and a lot of people think that if you keep Justin, you don't draft a quarterback. I disagree. What Green Bay has and what Green Bay shows consistently year over year over year is depth. And they had the luxury of letting this guy number 10 sit on the bench for 3 years and learn. So even if you're all about Fields and you're dancing in the streets that he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, you have 2 top 10 picks. You're going to trade the number 1 because you're going to absolutely eviscerate a team like we did Carolina last year, but you still take a stud wide receiver that balances DJ Moore, and you still take a quarterback that learns now under Justin. What Green Bay has and what Green Bay showed is depth. The other place that they really kicked us around, and honestly, I discount the game somewhat because it meant so much more to them than it did to us. They were playing for their playoff lives. Half of our guys were already on the golf course. Clearly,
They didn't even get off the bus.
Exactly.
It didn't feel like it when you watched it.
Right. But the place that we got pounded on both sides was at the line of scrimmage in the trenches. Their D line went through even good guys like Jenkins was having a very good year. He had a horrible game. You talk about draft picks and who's ahead of who. You still got Tyreek Stevenson, who's playing lights out as a rookie. You got Darnell Wright, who was very, very impressive. So I think Poles can go toe-to-toe draft-wise with these guys. What we've got to do now is balance out some key need positions with just stacking depth on both sides of the line, because you cannot get the tar beaten out of you in the trenches and hope to win. It just doesn't work. Not in this division. This is not a run and shoot offense type division where you're losing games 45-42. You have to be able to grind out and run out the clock and make first downs and get that time of possession in your favor and get the ball across the line. And
that's what I was saying last week is run the ball, where we barely did that.
Yeah, we can't do that. And our O-line was a turnstile, and their quarterback, I don't think the equipment guy had to even wash his clothes. He was standing back there eating a sandwich. So you gotta change that.
JB, you brought up something that I was going to bring up too when we talk about that Packer game, the play of the front lines, the offensive line and the defensive line. And I think our offensive line played better. There's a lot of moments this year where they really struggled, but boy, Tevin Jenkins, big fan of his. I think he's a great guard. He'll be back with us next year. I just hope he can stay healthy. He had his worst game. I love our rookie, Wright. I think he's got lots of great potential in him in the future in front of him. He had his worst game, but then when you're going against Kenny Clark, anybody's going to have a bad game because he's a really good player.
And even then, and I'm a huge fan of Wright. Go Big Orange, Tennessee Vol, and all that. He only had one pressure. Of all the catastrophic play on that O-line, he was still the best one. And as a rookie. So I think he's going to be a fixture on that offensive line for another decade for the Bears. I think he's absolutely fantastic, and he's only going to get better. But he was the bright spot.
So as we look at here, and we talk a little bit about the draft, and Casey, I'd love to get your opinion. So you are talking about Justin Fields coming back. JB, we're talking about that here a second ago. Casey, let's talk about what you think here now. Looking ahead, we got to see Justin Fields play. And I think when I watched that game, and I watched it back a little bit more on Sunday, Jordan Love got that ball out so fast. And you could see that on there. And I could still see Justin Fields holding to that ball too much longer. And then I saw a stat this morning where Jordan Love was getting that ball out around 2.7 seconds every time he went back to throw. Justin Fields was a little bit more than that. His was around 3.4 seconds. That's a little bit longer, and that's been a problem when it comes to Justin Fields. I like a lot of stuff that he's done with us. I still think he's going to be a good player in the NFL, but we've got the number 1 pick. And Casey, if you put your GM cap on right now and you look ahead here in the future, what do you do as being the diehard Bears fan that you are, the passionate fan that you are? Do you want to see us go in another direction of quarterback? And I guess it would all depend on who we bring in here as an offensive coordinator.
Well, first of all, I'm going to take a second and shout out to everybody that's in the comments, and thank you for joining us tonight. And second of all, I'm getting I'm getting antsy about this first overall pick, and I said it last week. I as much as I would like to see a quarterback come in here and succeed and do the things that Jordan Love is doing, and we got to build the team up around Justin, and I want to have Justin succeed. And it's tough coming to Chicago and being a quarterback and having your whole life and career, whatever you do, be scrutinized. And you got to build up the every Chicago
every city.
A lot.
Yeah.
Every city, yeah. But I mean, it's all over the news and everything. Justin getting scrutinized, and it's tough being a Chicago quarterback. But build up the offensive line. You even use the Green Bay blueprint to do this, because a lot of the time on last Sunday, our defensive line couldn't even get close to Jordan Love. Would we have 1 sack, 2 maybe, if that? We didn't get a lot of pressure on Jordan Love. And thinking back, when Rodgers even played, he had Bakatari and he had Bubba Franks as a blocker. And Bubba Franks, was that Brett Favre? I think it was Brett Favre.
Long time ago. So. Either way, it was a long time ago.
Still Green Bay. Still Green Bay.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, you protect Justin and have the right game plan, and they can succeed. So my thing is, I'm gonna trade back in the draft to get even more picks and build this roster up, because we have multiple holes, and trying to get even more depth on the offensive line, because when somebody gets hurt and has to step up, like Cody Whitehair had to step up from Nate Davis on Sunday. And I don't know what happened to Cody Whitehair over the past couple of years, but he can't snap a ball worth a crap. And he sure the hell couldn't block for Nate Davis. And he's still got, 2 years left on his contract?
Yeah,
but
so.
Nate Davis was, I don't know, he used to be a really good guard, and he came to Chicago and said, I'm already out of here. He hasn't shown up all year.
I think he's been a very disappointing. I think it's been a very disappointing year for him when it comes to our guard play.
So my answer is trade back and get multiple more picks to beef up this roster.
And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I think now with a brand new offensive coordinator coming in, I almost think now that they're going to lean towards drafting a quarterback. But I think we got months to discuss this and how it'll play out and how it'll happen. That's what's fun about it. See, I feel like we're always in this predicament every year, guys, that we're in like the top 5 draft picks where we get to be excited about who we're going to take and who we're going to draft because we can't win. But we got a bright side.
And then we end up drafting the wrong guy.
Yeah, that's not going to happen this year. No, it's not going to happen this year.
We're not going to get another
Mitch.
Kevin White. We're not.
Yeah, we're going to go get another Mitch Trubisky.
No money, Mitch.
Oh,
right.
Thank you all.
Or Cedric Benson.
Oh yeah, there's another one. But then he went to the Bengals and actually did okay. So the late Cedric Benson, I should say.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you have an offensive line.
Well, the other thing, that is kind of the wild card in this whole thing. I mean, you kind of know who the favorite players are coming out of college. You kind of know where the holes are. The other thing that don't forget is not a bad well to dip into to get a wide receiver, to get an offensive lineman, especially a guard, a stud center, these kinds of things. It's free agency. And we don't talk about that very much, but it is going to be, another critical year for Poles to kind of have his ear on the railroad track and make sure that as these guys are coming available, as he's reviewing these other teams' rosters to see where they might be heavy in a position and have a guy that's expendable, where he's going to be able to shore up, some of these holes that we have, like with a Nate Davis, somebody that's got some experience, somebody that comes out of the gate with a little bit of league savvy, knows the speed of the game, and doesn't have maybe as long of a ramp up period, is a little bit more of a plug and play scenario. And I think that this season has proven that we have too many holes to fill to just rely on the draft, but you got some real young studs coming up. In the draft, you got about 9 elite wide receivers, and everybody is just freaking out to get Marvin Harrison Jr. I agree. He's got the name. It's, the sexy pick, the whole thing. There are a bunch of receivers out there that I think we're going to be able to do very well. And don't sell short Poles' ability in the free agent market either.
Well, the one thing I'm going to point out is in free agency, he picked up Nate Davis and Lucas Patrick. Both of those guys, okay pickups, but I mean they haven't shown their worth at all.
Well, correct, and they're not going to necessarily be the be all end all, but we had gaping holes there, and he put someone in. That's one step forward.
And that's why I brought the Green Bay Packers draft up from last year, because I feel like that's a perfect team. Or if you even look in the playoffs right now, the Lions, the Rams, all these teams that draft so well when you can put the right players in place.
Hell, look at Puka Nacua from Los Angeles. Oh yeah, nobody knew of that guy. He's been fantastic all year.
My son put him on his fantasy team, and he absolutely ran through everybody.
That was a good pickup.
Yeah, that was a smart move. Hey, thank you all so much for watching.
Cooper Kupp .2.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to be a stud, guys. So thank you all so much for watching today. Thank you for all commenting in the chats right now. We see you all. Pinky,
I don't see anybody commenting.
And
Pinkalicious.
I just had him up. Hold on, guys. Everybody that was here a second ago, I just had him up a second ago. I also want to.
Hi, Cheryl. I think our
Cheryl. Thanks for the Bulls updates. And I also want to tell you guys that the NFL playoffs are here, because right now you can get on the road to the Super Bowl, get the W with the official fantasy sports partner of Chicago Sports Podcast. That's Underdog Fantasy. So here's what you do. You enter your bid by using the special CSP promo code when you sign up at underdogfantasy.com. Chicago Sports Podcast users will receive 100% deposit match up to $100 when they use the CSP sign-in code. So get 5 picks right, and you will multiply your money 20 times. It's that simple. It's fast. It's fun. It's going to make playoff football so much fun this weekend. Underdog Fantasy, the official gaming partner of Chicago Sports Podcast. All right,
hey, I got a question for you guys.
Yes, CB.
Hey, can I sell this for $175?
Oh, man. Well, no, is it pink or red?
I was going to say, it was the pink.
It's gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. If it's pink or red, dude, we're going to get that up right now, man, and we're going to get hundreds of dollars for that, and then tell Target that you guys are never going to be able to get that stuff ever again. Because those TikTok videos, man, are
special edition.
I know, right? So yeah, you're gonna make that the official. You're gonna make that your drink now when you come on here every time.
I got to put something on here that says Chicago Sports Podcast.
Heck yeah, you do, and get that caffeine rolling. So thank you guys.
Pick 'em Bears.
Thank you guys for chiming in tonight. Want to say hello to Debbie, Leroy, and Cheryl for commenting on the show tonight. As we wrap up things here with our Bears talk, and we got so much time to talk about the Bears, guys, because the season's over with now. I mean, we've talked so much about everything that's gone right, that's gone wrong every week on the Madhouse here. But when we kind of look ahead here, I think one of the key, we talk about the draft, and that's going to be important too, which offensive coordinators are going to get in here. The list is going to start coming out over the next couple of days who they're going to be talking to. But I think going into this offseason, one of the most important things that they need to do is bring Jalen Johnson back. And I wasn't that way in the beginning part, but I think you could see, and JB, I'll start with you. When you watch the game against the Packer game on Sunday, and I know the pass rush wasn't really there, and it was hard to get that pass rush throughout the rest of the game. But not having Jalen Johnson in the year that he's had, and that presence out there, I felt
secondary wasn't the same.
It was not the same. No, it was not. I thought they got exposed a little bit more. And I think, and you kind of heard Ryan Poles say it today, guys, that he wants to bring him back. He's not going anywhere. So, JB, I'm going to start with you when it comes to some of your biggest offseason needs. Do you think Jalen Johnson's right there at the top of the list?
Oh yeah, you gotta keep him. I mean, he's top shelf. For the whole defense. The linebackers in the middle that we got have been absolutely lights out. How they didn't get Pro Bowl bids, I have no idea. Jalen Johnson's in the back. I mean, Eddie Jackson is a pretty polarizing figure at this point. I mean, he's kind of the elder statesman back there as a 7-year guy. But he I don't know. He's got the smarts? Does he have the jets anymore? I don't know. But obviously, Sweat was a huge improvement in just putting pressure on, and then getting the hurries, getting the pressures, and that makes it easier on the back end. But Jalen Johnson was the kind of guy. There isn't a quarterback in the league that wanted to throw to his side. There isn't. Period. Because he's the closest thing I think in the NFC to a complete shutdown corner. You got to have him.
I agree, and I think he's going to get paid like one this offseason. I think that's going to happen with us. And so Casey, I'll go right to you then too. When you look at some of the big offseason needs, you put Jalen Johnson there. He mentioned Eddie Jackson. Do you think Eddie Jackson, his days are done now with the Bears?
I believe we drafted a safety. There's quite a few good safeties coming out. Rod Moore from Michigan.
Yeah, he's a player.
Kentucky or Kansas. There was a safety down there that I was watching highlights from.
One of those K schools.
Kenny Lucas or something like that was his name. Yeah, I don't believe Eddie's coming back because he's got like $14 million left on his contract, and it just wouldn't be wise to keep him on for the cap for next year.
Well,
and
it's
same thing with Whitehair.
Yeah. So one thing Poles is good at is managing cap, and if he can,
look at the Mac deal.
Yeah, exactly. And if he can replace Eddie, with a kid that's a hunter, like quite honestly, like Eddie Jackson was when we took him. The only reason we got him, I think it was like in the 4th round, if I remember correctly, is because at the end of his senior season, he broke his leg, and he sunk on everybody's board. But I couldn't believe we got him so low in the draft. You get an Alabama safety that if you look at tape on him in college, he was vicious. He was not just a joiner on tackles. He was the first one there, and the guy went backwards, period. And I saw the same thing with Tyreek Stevenson. Very, very encouraged by that young man. And so, if Eddie's not there anymore, we can get another kid that's a complete ball hawk like that, then, especially managing the cap, you're right. We got to go that way,
Yeah.
I don't even think he has to be a ball hawk. Just be an enforcer back there and make the quarterback think twice, or the wide receiver to think about going over the middle and be scared to get hit by somebody.
Yeah,
I don't think Eddie Jackson can do that anymore. Or
it's been a long time since we had Fensick and Plank back there, hasn't it?
And guys, I am throwing
hell, even Mike Brown put some hits on some people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The guy I'm thinking of right now, that Hamilton on the Raven. When I start thinking of like guys you're thinking of, man, that's the first guy I think of, and I feel like
wait a couple more years, we might be able to get Kennedy Urlacher.
Yeah. We're going to be waiting for that, man. Hey, guys, I want to let you know, too, here, Monsters of the Madhouse, thank you all for watching tonight. A lot of Bears talk. We love our team. We love all of our Chicago teams. And you can get even more Bears talk tomorrow night. Our boy Pinky will be back. So it's going to be
Pinkalicious.
Yeah, Pinkalicious, man. It's going to be fun when he's back.
I'll be on there, too.
Yeah, that's right. Casey, you're going to be on there. He is Chicago. You can feel it when you hear him, even though he's living in Wisconsin. We're not going to hold that against him. Ooh, and you guys are going to be talking about the Bears and Packers, the fallout from that game, previewing the Bears, sneak preview of the free agency season coming up. So make sure you guys, tomorrow night, you can watch it right here on this channel on our Facebook page of Monsters of the Madhouse, starting at 8 o'clock Central Time. Guys,
yes, sir.
When it comes something that happened last week, and I thought was just a shame for the Blackhawks, Connor Bedard going out with broken jaw for 6 weeks, 6 week. It's about a 5 to 6 week injury. And listen, the Blackhawks are on a rebuild right now. They got players in the pipeline that are going to be coming up, so it's going to take a little bit of time. But the season that he's had so far has just been incredible. Far and away, everything that I read from all the beat writers in the NHL right now, he was far and away going to be up for the Rookie of the Year for the NHL. And I know there's been some good rookies. It's been a pretty good rookie class this year too. But the things that he's been doing, and sure enough, breaks his jaw, and
on a dirty hit.
Yeah, he got lit up.
It goes back and forth, and that's what I was going to ask you, Casey, because I go back and forth with reading some of the analysts saying, some saying it's dirty, some saying no, that was clean. When you saw that and you watched it a couple of times, and I just got your reaction, that's a dirty hit.
Yeah, anytime you bring the stick up or even an elbow up to the jawline, that's dirty to me. Hit him in the shoulder, just like Justin getting no calls on any late hits on him all year. That was a dirty hit too. I believe he made his point. He was going to the ground and still got hit doing that. Bedard's hit was a dirty hit to me. And you can – hockey's one of those sports where it's aggressive and some of the hits can be like bad, but do it the right way, you know? Don't board anybody. Don't stick them in the face. It's already a rough sport. Why make it even worse?
And I thought it was cool. Nick Foligno, who I watched a lot of when I lived in Ohio. I lived in Cincinnati for a long time. He was on the Columbus Blue Jackets. He was their team leader, and he was. You could always tell that guy was a leader, and he came to the defense all the time, and he did that. And he ended up going out. JB. So with that being said, with Bedard being out now. And it kind of sucked because they played Edmonton. What was that last night? And they've got their stud on there. They got their stud,
Connor McDavid.
Yeah. So I was like, man, you could have seen them playing against each other. So they've only got the Blackhawks 3-6-1 in the last 10 games, and it's going to be a rough season now, even without Bedard. So JB, what goes from here for the Blackhawks? So as an everyday fan, what would get you motivated to watch a Blackhawks game now without Bedard?
You know what? Any chance I can watch the Blackhawks, I just like watching them. I mean, it's a very nostalgic relationship that I have with the team. Honest to God, much you could say the same for the Bears. You could say the same for 108 years of the Cubs. You know, I just like to watch Chicago sports whenever I can. So, I mean, there's that aspect of it where if you're a fan, you're going to be a fan. But Bedard is the kind of talent that just sort of sucks all the oxygen out of the room. I mean, when he's in there, that's all you're watching, you know. But there's a lot of other young players that you want to hear the announcers talking about them. You want to hear you know what their contributions are going to be, how they're going to grow, how that void of having a legit superstar, no matter that he's a rookie or not, you know, how that void is going to be filled. Who's going to step up on the team? I think is intriguing.
You're welcome, Cheryl.
So there's storylines beyond Connor Bedard. Obviously, he's a huge draw, you know, because everybody wants to watch Walter Payton run the ball. Everybody wants to watch Michael Jordan, you know, humiliate, you know, everybody in the league. And Bedard is already world class just coming out of the gate. But to me, that's not the only draw that's there. It's still a valid, entertaining, you know, type game, and you're more philosophical, analytical about it, I would guess. You know, where you're saying, okay, well, what, like we're just talking about with the Bears, what holes do they need to fill? Where could we shore this up? Oh, this guy surprised me. He came in there and he filled the void. You know, I mean, there's intrigue there beyond the superstar.
And to what you're saying, JB, the stat blew me away earlier today, guys. They did the attendance so far, the NHL this season. The Blackhawks, for them being a rebuild and where they're at right now, number 3 in attendance in the NHL. Number 3. Yeah. The only other 2 team was the Montreal Canadiens. That doesn't surprise me. That's a fan base. They sell out pretty much all their games. Tampa Bay Lightning, number 2, which I know they sell out many of their games, and they're pretty much, you don't want to call them a dynasty, but they're close to it when it comes to the NHL for how they played the last few years. And then they're the Blackhawks right there. So I think that's pretty cool. I think Connor Bedard has brought a lot of that too back to Chicago, because a lot of people, even when they're not good, are going out to watch him play.
Yeah, Tampa Bay benefits from a lot of snowbirds down there too.
Why would they go down there? Why would they go down there? Why would you go down there?
Yeah, why would you want to go down
there? If you guys are enjoying some snow right now back in Chicago, why would you want to be anywhere with like 60 degrees?
Is that what you tell us?
They just had tornadoes.
Yes, they did. They did. I know. Yeah, you get one or the other, man. I can tell you that here too in Knoxville. You never know what you're going to get, man, when you're with the weather. Hey, guys.
At least you don't get to hurricanes.
Oh, man. I don't think so. I don't think goes that far in here. We're going to talk a little bit about the NFL playoff weekend here in just a second. And with that being said, when it comes to the playoffs, we all like to relax. We like to sit down, have a couple of drinks, and I am telling you, you can have a tequila experience like no other. NHL Hall of Famer Chris Chelios, revolutionary El Bandito Yankee, the authentic to the smooth core, additive-free, 100% blue agave ultra premium tequila. It's changed the game, extraordinary, and it's got so much flavor to that. It's going to it's going to be quenching your taste. You're going to have that first shot of that while you're watching the game, and you're going to want more, and it's going to be a magical weekend for you. So you can check out elbanditoyankee.com and be in tequila heaven, because I think a lot of us here on this show, I don't know about you guys, I think some of us like to have a couple of drinks, especially when the game's on.
A little pop here and there, you know.
Yeah.
When I spent some years down in Texas, I perfected my my margarita making, and so I would have loved to have had that Chelios tequila.
Oh man, that taste of the kids. See, I'm doing dry January right now, and they say like when you do dry January, I don't know if anybody on the show or you guys have done it before, but I'm like getting 2 weeks in, and it's been good so far. Now I've also had this horrible cold where I was out, so it didn't matter. But everybody tells me it's always the second and third weekend that are the hardest. So especially when the playoffs are on this weekend, you know, I'll have this with me, but it'll be like difficult. It's like, man, I want to go grab a beer, especially if the game's like exciting. You want to grab something. Doesn't it feel that way sometimes?
Yeah. It's funny you bring that up. I don't drink nearly as much as when I was a wee lad, but if you've ever had a kidney stone, which
I have not.
Oh my God, you don't want it. But I will tell you, it puts a whole new priority on staying hydrated, and so that's why I always got my sippy cup with me, and I'm always drinking something. So I'm, you know, you'll find when you're not drinking alcohol, all kinds of crazy things that you can mix. So at least you're drinking something different and something interesting. So you'll put cranberry juice in ginger ale. You'll put, fizzy water and cherry juice or what. I mean, you know, so you can at least, you know, have a special drink, even though it's not getting your buzz on, I guess, you know?
Yeah, to have that feeling with it. I see where you're going there, JB.
Yeah.
So.
Especially after last Sunday, I drank more after halftime.
Yeah, after that game's done. Yeah, it's, like I said, guys, it's always freaking football. Like you just want to keep grabbing something there. Maybe I'll just make up with it with food this weekend.
After that Green Bay game, I cracked open a beautiful bottle of the Lafroy Scotch and said, "Okay, that's enough of this."
Love a good Scotch. You know, guys, let's stick with football for.
We're gonna break his dry January.
Yeah, I know. Thanks to JB. Guys, like, I'm not coming back on the show next week. Hey, Trax, you're gonna have to find somebody else next week. Thanks to you. You know, guys.
Come on, Pinky.
Yeah, Pinky, right? Guys, speaking of football, we've got to talk about a little bit about the game, the college football championship game on Monday night. Which
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I said whoever was going to win the Alabama-Michigan game is probably going to win the championship. And Michigan, to me, especially winning those games without Harbaugh at the end when he was suspended, and they went out and they still won those games. I'm like, there's something behind this team. There's magic, and you can just watch that when they play, especially their defense. Their defense is great this year. McCarthy made some big throws while it did, and there they are. Jim Harbaugh holding up the trophy, hugging his dad and hugging his brother. First championship since 1997. So, Casey, when you look at that game, it wasn't very competitive. I say that the game kind of turned with the interception in the second half, where I'm like, okay, when Washington came back out through that pick, I'm like, this game is over with. So what is your takeaway overall from the college national championship? And did they get it right? Is Michigan, should they be the champions?
First of all, yes. Michigan deserved to be the champions.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what conspiracy was around the team the whole year. It looked like they deserved to be there, and they deserved to win. Secondly, neither one of those quarterbacks looked like themselves.
No, Penix especially did not.
Right.
No. And Penix was hurting by the time that game was done. You could tell there was something wrong. He was overthrowing receivers by 5-10 yards. And
Yeah,
I was
he got
surprised.
tenderized pretty good out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I predicted last week that Michigan was going to win because of J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum, but it ended up being Edwards. Edwards had 2 big runs, and I was like, wow. And I like before the game they showed the 05 Texas Longhorns championship game where Vince ran it in, and I was like, man, that made me want my Longhorns in here. But watching Washington and Michigan deserved to win.
Oh yeah,
I agree. And JB, so that what the question now is Jim Harbaugh. He's got his championship in Michigan. He you can see how excited he was. I think that was the happiest I've seen that guy in a very long time.
oh yeah.
In your opinion, what's he going to do next? There's a lot of NFL jobs out there. There's some big NFL jobs out there. Does he go back to Michigan? Because it looks like they're going to lose quite a few players from this team. Quite a few going to the NFL. Or does he go back to Michigan, or does he take one of those big jobs in the NFL?
You know, it's tough. He's a rare breed of coach in that he's gone from college to the NFL, back to college, and I would love to see him on the sidelines of the Bear games. Love it. I mean, you know, I think that it's clear they're keeping Eberflus, which is fine. You know, man, seeing the look on his face and the money they're gonna pay him at Michigan is amazing. And
I want to point this out. Brandon just sent that comment, and we're over 3,100 members right now.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Man. We're so glad you.
That's
guys
awesome.
But you know,
thank you guys.
The thing for Harbaugh, he has an opportunity to go to a lousy team in the NFL and reinvent that team and make them what he did for the 49ers, okay? Or he can stay in Michigan and be deified for life and be the next Bo Schembechler. That's a pretty tough siren song to ignore. I mean, that you're talking about, you know, Saban following Bear Bryant, Harbaugh now following Schembechler. I mean, there's rich history there, and he doesn't have to deal with the whole the meat grinder of the NFL. I'd love to see him as the Bears coach. I can't imagine what kind of offer it would take to pull him back into the league, because he already knows it. It's not like it's a dream that's unfulfilled that he just, if I could only make it to the league, it'd be great. You know, he's already been there and he's already getting, you know, some mileage on him. Can he just, you know, coach Michigan for another 10 years and just slide into having a bronze statue outside the you know, their stadium and have a nice day? It's pretty darn attractive, you know?
Oh, yeah. With all the history that you just talked about too, JB, I think this is going to be the biggest, for me, most intriguing thing that's going to happen in the NFL offseason here as far as coaching goes. I mean, today, Pete Carroll, I mean, I didn't see that one coming. Pete Carroll gone from Seattle is the other one.
Hold on a minute.
Hold on a minute.
Nick Saban retired today, too.
Yes, he did. That was the third one I was going to get to. Nick Saban is now no longer there. So it's like a big day when you think of like 2 Hall of Famers. You don't see that very often in any sport going away like that. And the resume and everything that they've done for the sport, man, is just crazy to see that.
And, I mean, they still got a lot of miles left to go if they want to keep doing it.
Yes, they do. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this one all plays out, guys. Wouldn't
that be funny to see if you see Nick Saban on the Patriots sideline?
Nick Saban. The first thing I thought was what about Bill O'Brien going back to the guy? Wasn't Bill O'Brien the coach? I don't know if that would be a going back to Alabama, but yeah. Nick Saban.
Did Did Bill get let go, or is he?
No, he's still on part of the staff of the Patriots, but he was the OC for Alabama for a couple of years.
No, I mean Belichick.
No, I don't know. I have no idea what's going on there, man. They haven't said anything what's going on or who's let go or who's still there. But
from a coaching tree standpoint, if Belichick's coming back, I stay with Belichick. There isn't a greater guy to learn from and to stack your resume up behind than Bill, even though his team, really fell apart this year. The pedigree and the legacy that guy has.
I think they're in the same boat as us. They got some talent, but they need a quarterback, and because Mac Jones was not the guy.
Yeah, that's what happens when you draft the wrong quarterback, man. You see what it does and set your team back. So
yeah.
Hey, guys, tomorrow we're talking earlier today about Pinky and tomorrow night, and you guys can get more here on Monsters of the Madhouse. Thank you so much for watching. But also tomorrow, Cubs legend Bob Denier is going to be at Bridges Scoreboard tomorrow night, 6:30. Going to talk about some of his favorite Cub moments, memories, plus take what's going on the present Cubs, the future of Major League Baseball, and going to be right here at Chicago Sports Podcast, Monsters of the Madhouse, voice of the Chicago sports fan, live from Bridges Scoreboard, your Northwest Indiana Chicago sports headquarters, with an awesome, awesome menu. And I could tell you that until the last time that I was.
Go Cubs, go.
Go Cubs, go. Now, speaking of the Cubs, Casey, I want to bring you in for this. This happened earlier or late last night. Shota Imanaga, the Japanese pitcher, we got word that he was going to be signing with the Cubs. Sure enough, he's going to be the new starting pitcher for the Cubs. He's going to be going in. It looks like probably a number 2, number 3 starter when you put that all in. And now looks to set up another left-handed pitcher, starting pitcher into the rotation. Pretty dominant because you lose Marcus Stroman, who's rumored to look like he's going to the Yankees. So I just want to get your take, Casey.
Boo.
Because first off, we got a signing for the Cubs. We should just be happy we got a signing
for the
Cubs. Yes. And
they did something.
They did something, right?
Human.
It's the first of many more, hopefully. So, Casey, I want to see your take of him.
And it wasn't a ball boy.
I want to see your take of him as a starting pitcher for the Chicago Cubs and what you think.
First of all, for this guy, welcome to the show. It's part of his name. Second of all, it's not one of the other 2 Japanese guys that we wanted, but it's somebody, and it's a pitcher. So I'm excited. Hopefully the dominoes start falling, and maybe this sparks Cody Bellinger for him to decide what he wants to do. Or if not, he's going to wait until spring training and probably just sign something then. But, I'm excited about it, and I'm just happy they didn't not just sign Counsell.
Yeah, JB, I think a lot of Cubs fans are happy about that. And I think what's I'm not going to say surprised, maybe a little bit about Cody Bellinger. I thought there was going to be a bigger market out there for him in free agency, and he's still out there. And I have a feeling he's got a very good possibility of coming back to the Cubs. Are you surprised that Bellinger hasn't signed anywhere else and that he will be back with the Cubs?
Baseball with free agents is very, very fickle. I mean, and it's just one team's obvious hero is the other team's, whatever. And it seems like the talent in other sports is more evenly respected and appreciated. And baseball it varies wildly. You'd think that the guy's a total rock star, and then next thing you know, he's not really getting any play in free agency. So I would love to see him come back. I thought he was a great spark of energy for the Cubs. He certainly can play, So, if he comes back, to me, it's just good management, and let him get a dose of reality. Go ahead, go shopping, see what you can find, and then when you come back and you want to play baseball, let's sign a reasonable contract, move forward, and you can play.
Well, it doesn't help that Ohtani signed a $700 million contract.
Yeah. No, I mean, free agency in baseball is
it's unbelievable,
Bananaville money.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the gross national product of like at least 43 small countries could fit under some of these contracts.
Yeah.
So I mean, the money after so many zeros, it just becomes irrelevant. It's kind of stupid. You want to have good players on your team. You want to have good team chemistry. And I think Council's gonna promote that. I mean, that's what he does, and to he doesn't want to just get stars. He wants to get the right ones in the fold where it's the Tetris game is gonna come together. And I think he's a great guy to do that.
And it'll be interesting too, because Cubs convention this weekend, so something to look forward to. And it'll be interesting because guys, it's not that far away, really. Pitchers and catchers. I mean, we're going into the middle of January, so we're about 6 weeks away. So I always get excited for that. I can't wait for that. And we're going to talk a lot more about the Cubs and the White Sox. My favorite team, the White Sox, because they're probably going to lose 100 games this year. But we're going to get a lot more into that as we go along. So, guys, we got a couple more minutes left here on Monsters of the Madhouse. First off, thanks to everybody. Dano, Blakes, I want to thank you, man. Absolutely, Trax. Would love to get him on here sometime. That would be awesome. Everybody watching here tonight, thank you so much. Guys, this weekend.
Thank you for the 3,100.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Say thank you enough because this show doesn't exist without everybody watching right now. So thank you, guys. I want to get JB and Casey. I want to get you guys' thoughts here because we got our first weekend of the NFL playoffs. As we look at some of the games, and I'll start with you, JB. When you look at the schedule, is there a certain game that sticks out to you or a certain storyline that you're going to be focusing on?
I mean, to a degree, I think every fan, his team is out of it, checks out a little bit. I think Dallas is an extremely intriguing storyline. I think Kansas City is still probably the biggest sleeper on the AFC side. All that's got to happen there is their receivers decide to catch the ball again. I mean, literally, if they decide to do their job and catch the pumpkin, that's still a pretty hard team to beat.
Travis is too focused on Taylor Swift.
What's that?
Travis is too focused on Taylor Swift anymore.
Well, I mean, the kid can still.
I think I would be too.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I chased one around like that, so I don't quite have the budget anymore.
Go get it, big guy. He got himself a sugar mama.
Yeah, right. not bad work if you can get it.
No, man. So yeah, that'll be interesting. How about you, Casey? As we'll get him back here in 1 second, but you bring up some good points, JB, when you talk about.
I think he fell down.
Yeah, he's love struck over Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
I think.
No, I got some coffee grounds.
Dude,
I just took a big swig of coffee grounds.
You're going to sleep tonight, my friend. You're gonna be watching
highlights.
You're gonna be watching highlights of Travis Kelce. Casey, what about you, man? What are you looking forward to this
More
weekend?
like Jason.
What are you looking
What's
forward
that?
What are you looking forward to this weekend in the playoffs, man?
Packers getting beat down.
Man, I thought you were a Packers fan. I mean, how did I get this wrong? That'll be an interesting. Guys, that's an interesting game too. Mike McCarthy against the Packers, and he was trying to avoid that when I saw his press conference the other day, and I'm like, no, that's going to be interesting to watch. If Jordan Love plays the way he did against us, man, that's going to be a pretty good game. I think it'll be a very competitive game.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I can't wait until Dallas's linebackers get introduced to Mr. Love.
Yeah, Dan Quinn's going to have a good game plan for that, man. So in my household, obviously my girlfriend, my Pittsburgh girlfriend, diehard Steeler fan. So we'll be watching the Steelers and Bills on Sunday.
That was a surprising last couple minutes of that Steelers game. I'm surprised they got in.
Yeah, so they got in. I think it's going to be a tough – I mean, the way the Bills are playing, I think it's going to be very hard. But she brings up some good points. The Steelers always find a way. Mike Tomlin always has them coached. And there's going to be a lot of Steelers fans up in Buffalo because that's not a far right at all from Pittsburgh. So
actually, I'm going to be rooting for the Lions.
That's another one. I think between the Rams, Stafford going back to play Detroit, that's going to be cool to see.
That's two big storylines right there.
Yeah.
How could you script it any better?
With Jared Goff, he's going to have some type of motivation for the team that traded him away. So it's gonna be a great weekend, guys, and we're going to talk about it next week. We'll go over the games, go over the playoffs, talk about everything coming up to anything that breaks with the Bears. Make sure you guys follow us along on Facebook here because we keep you up to date every day of what's going on, not only with the Bears but all of Chicago sports. Cleet Campbell, our guy Cleet Campbell, who's been on our shows. The dude watches articles. He pops them up from time to time. He does a very good job on them. Very good writer and very good input to what's going on. And then, of course, Trax, our guy Trax, Brandon Trax, who you guys can check out on here as well. He does a lot of the Bears pregame and postgame shows. He did it last Sunday, did a very good job. Can't say thank you enough to him for everything that he does on our show. So make sure you guys follow us, like us on YouTube.
Thanks, Clete. Thanks, Traxy.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. Make sure you follow us on our YouTube channel. You guys can watch our videos from the past on our YouTube channel. And thank you guys for watching tonight, because we wouldn't be here without you guys. Because we're all together, guys. We're just diehard sports fans. We just want to get together and talk sports, and that's what we do here on this channel for Monsters of the Madhouse.
Hey, Cheryl, did the Bulls win yet?
The Bulls were. I don't know. We
didn't really talk about them, but we kind of went away from all that.
Yeah, we had a lot. We had a lot going on today, guys. So we're going to do that down with football. So we'll also get a little bit more of the Bulls next week too, as things start coming down a little bit.
We'll probably talk about it tomorrow too.
So Casey, tomorrow night you'll be on with Pinky. You guys will be on at 8
sir.
o'clock. You guys will be talking a little bit more. If anything else breaks or anything else happens here in the next 24 hours, you guys will talk about that with the Bears. Talk a little bit more about the Bulls, or if the Cubs sign another player, man, you'll be right on top of that too. So,
yes, sir.
I'll be looking for your input. JB, dude, I'm glad to have you on the show, man. It's so nice to meet you. I'm glad you're here with us.
It's an honor to be here. I think I am also slated to jump on tomorrow evening as well.
Dude, how about that?
Yeah.
So I would be on my couch. I would say be drinking a beer, but I can't be drinking a beer. I'll be on my couch watching you guys, man, breaking everything down tomorrow night here.
He'll be drinking Alka-Seltzer.
You'll be having a rich, creamy root beer.
We're getting riled here tomorrow night, guys. Bedtime at 9:30 afterwards. So
that's right.
Well, thank you guys for on the show. You guys, I say we do this again next week. How about that?
I'd be delighted.
Same time, same place.
All right, Casey. Casey, you enjoy your hotel. JB, enjoy your weekend, man. Thanks to everybody for watching tonight. Monsters of the Madhouse, and we will talk to you guys next week.